So Emma, there's a new report out about maternity discrimination for new mothers. How is this still happening in this day and age?
This report is a huge eye-opener. It's a situation that can't be covered fully by legislation because there's a gap between where legislation ends and your boss's discretion begins. And I think this is still happening because there is a prejudice that if you are a mother, you won't be as committed to your job. There will be people at home who are more important to you than your job. Well, guess what? That's correct. That's how important you were to your mother. That doesn't mean they're less committed to their work. So I think this is a really important report to shine a spotlight on an uncomfortable truth that is happening across workplaces in Britain.
So what can we do about it? What do employers need to do?
I think one of the things that doesn't really seem to be changing is the secrecy and the stigma and the shame that is associated with a woman becoming pregnant and talking to her boss or her colleagues about it. I mean, I've personally had somebody go off on maternity leave, and when she came to me to tell me she was going off on maternity leave, I was thrilled for her, threw my arms around her, I was happy for her, I wanted that to be a good situation. However, I couldn't ask her when she was going to come back. I legally could not ask her that question. So then it becomes a bit awkward. It becomes, how am I going to fill this position? How long do I need your cover for? And my point is, I think we need to get to a place in work, and this will make me very unpopular with some people who don't wish to answer these questions. And yes, I am a childless woman, so forgive me for having this view. But I think it's really difficult to have any of the sort of openness we need when people in your workplace cannot ask you questions about how you're going to plan your maternity leave and also how you're planning on doing your childcare.
So is this something for the government to tackle?
Actually, David Cameron has been banging the feminist drum recently. He only a few days ago said, I'm going to end the gender pay gap within a generation. Well, that's all very well. His only plan so far is to get companies over the size of 250 employees to say if they're paying their male or female staff differently through this sort of audit system. Well, that's all very well if you're working for a big company in a city. What he hasn't thought about are those cultural, unspoken discriminations that happen in workplaces that do not get spoken about. So if David Cameron is serious about ending the pay gap between the genders, one of the things he needs to look at is maternity discrimination.